Hey guys, welcome to the T Series. My name is Joshua Johnson. I am a Flint Fashion Photographer and a graduate of Ferris State University with my bachelor's in graphic design. And today we'll be talking about fashion photography. So let's get started.
Okay, so when you're looking for those areas to improve, those opportunities to improve, um, do you find that to be your motivation or a source of motivation for you?
You know, I find it funny that you said that because when I first started doing photography, before I got an actual digital camera, in school they forced us to actually use film cameras. And when you use film, is you go out and shoot, but if you mess up one step in that processing of the actual film, you're going to result with no images at all. And that frustration that I felt motivated me to actually want to do photography. Just because the frustration of knowing that I have images that are good, but I can't actually physically see them. So it made me appreciate the craft of photography more, and it made me want to appreciate every single image that I actually shoot.
So with film photography, it seems like it's a pressurized situation. By that I mean you're under some sort of pressure to get it right the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no do-overs, there's no redos, there's no delete button. Um, did that help you work better under pressure?
It helped me work better under pressure, and it also made me look at the details and things. I can't say that I'm always perfect. I have actually had a shoot where I was taking pictures of a family, and they had actual like discrepancy within their family where they wanted individual pictures with their mom and their dad. I took 3 images, and the best image, her dad closed his eyes. So instead of taking the negative and throwing that image away, I did the same motivation with film. I looked into my other images and I tried to figure out how can I paste his eyes onto another image that's similar to this pose so that she never noticed. And when I sent it to my client, she never noticed that he closed his eyes until I sent her the before picture. And she was like, he closed his eyes? So those little details and actually people care about. People care about, when I look at my process of shooting people, a lot of times it's either two different ways I go about the approach. I either let the client come up with the creative, where they come to me with the idea and I just give them subtle advice on their ideas of how to captivate that image a little bit better. Or people who actually trust my craft, they actually let me style the images myself. And those are a little bit more funner than usual just because I get to spend the time going and doing research. Some of my past clients, we actually met at thrift stores to actually style their images. I'm a photographer who's willing to go beyond and
Yeah.
beyond to create a good image.
So you go above and beyond with your images when you're taking those photos. Do you find yourself to be one to go above and beyond in other aspects of your life?
I do find myself going above in other aspects. Before I got my associate's degree, I have my associate's degree and bachelor's degree in graphic design. That was a very hard journey for me because when you mix the two crafts, a lot of people don't think it's possible to actually integrate certain medias. And when I did have that certain media of integrating photography and graphic design, I had to know that this is what I wanted to do. I had to learn that I can be capable of expanding different skills outside of just graphic design, outside of just photography. And in order to push yourself to do better, you have to look past the naysayers and look past what they're saying and actually just pursue it.
Do you take criticism well?
I do take criticism well. Criticism is one of those things that I feel like it's going to come with the art form. When
Yeah.
it comes to with the art form, criticism is always going to be there. So when a person says, this is something I don't like, I always go beyond that question. If you say you don't like something, I always ask a follow-up question. What don't you like about it? That question there lets me know where I can correct the issue. 99.9% issues can be fixed with communication. And criticism is just one of those communication factors that comes with the craft. And when a person doesn't like a certain thing, it's always good that you express it to me because I want you to be as happy as possible when you see your images.
Awesome. You mentioned communication. We know media media is a form of communication. It's a visual method of communication. Do you think you're a strong communicator then?
I think I'm a strong communicator. I have my days where I'm lacking, just like everyone else. A lot of times when you see creatives, there's a stereotype that we're introverts, which is kind of true because we are, to a certain extent, those people who pursue things that are different than others. It's not the norm job to take pictures or to do videos or to do web design. It's not a normal job. It's highly discouraged by others because they see the complication of it. They see how hard it is. So when it comes to that communication, you always gotta take the ugly and make some good out of it. Because you can always say you don't like something, you can always say I'm angry, but there's always a reason behind that. So when a person's angry, questions and communication always does help bring out that true reason of why they're angry or why they have a problem with something.
Do you find that a lot of times when, let's say, a client says they don't like something, is it something that you can correct instantaneously?
In some rare instances, if a picture's out of focus, it's out of focus. Sometimes when I do my selective processing, what my process of actual images, I get about 200 to 300 shots from a shoot. And what I do from there is I'll weed those down to roughly around 160 to 180 shots. What I'm doing is I'm looking for if you blinked, if the picture's out of focus. I'm looking for if someone's just not looking to par, something that you don't want to see. I take all those images out. Sometimes they do slip through the cracks, and when that rarely does happen, I always communicate that I'll be more than happy to swap that photo out and give you that photo complimentary.
How do you rate them? Like, do you use like Lightroom?
I use a combination of Lightroom and Photoshop. So my first process is Lightroom actually. I upload all my images to Lightroom and then I call from there. I'll delete all the pictures that aren't presentable for the client and then go from there, and I'll see if there's duplicates of a certain pose. Like let's say you did the same pose, but I took 3 or 4 shots of it. I'm gonna look through those subtle details that a person who's not trained aren't gonna be able to see. I'm gonna be able to look and see, okay, this is the right image for that pose. So that way, when a client do pick their pose, it's nothing but great quality that's presented.
So if you have like 2 or 3 images of the same pose, how do you make that distinction? What image of that same pose gets sent to the client?
So if I have 2 of the same poses, what I do is I'll zoom in on your face. I'll zoom in on your face and I'll keep clicking back in between those 2 images. And I'm looking for subtle details such as, was the light in your eye in this shot? Or how bright is your eyes? How comfortable do you look in the photo? Which of the photos is an actual better image? If I can't come to that decision myself, I just send them both to the clients and let them decide it themselves.
Is there like a certain extent to which like a photographer or a director can help make someone comfortable on set, or is some of that just up to them to be comfortable being around cameras?
So sometimes you do get people who are a little bit more comfortable behind the camera, and you get some people who are a little less comfortable. For the people who are more comfortable, I always give the same treatment as far as with everyone. I always ask you if you need any help with your bags. I always ask you if you need any water. I always ask you if you need anything. I'm always being polite. I'm always complimenting what you're wearing. I'm always trying to make you feel as comfortable as possible. For some who are a little less experienced, I'm more hands-on as far as like with a one-on-one session, as far as I can get and actually demonstrate more poses for you. I've been trained as far as learning different posing techniques. I'll constantly study different posing techniques from Vogue, W, L, different magazines, anything I can get my hand on to try and figure out posing. And oddly or not, I'm one of those photographers who will actually get in the pose with you to show you how to do it.
What makes a good pose from a bad pose? What are things you look for in a pose?
So some of the things I look for posing is the difference in actual high fashion and portraiture. So portraiture is more of a relaxed. High fashion, you want to accentuate your features. So what that means is you want to give more angles and varieties in your shoulders, maybe rising one shoulder up, maybe pushing one shoulder forward to the camera, doing little subtle expressions with your face. I have a lot of different techniques. Some of the things I'd like to send my models prior to shooting, if they don't have the experience to be behind the lens, I send them the videos that I watched, like how to use your hands and different hand spacing techniques, such as the grips in your hands and different facial poses, how to smize, different things like that. And I personally have my own modeling tips of me demonstrating some of these on my personal Instagram.
Do you want to just maybe go into depth about that? Maybe explain that?
So smizing, for example, is when you lift your eyebrows. So the technique, you want to kind of lift your eyebrows towards your ear. So it's kind of accentuating your eyes and opening them a little bit brighter. So without a smize, your face is naturally kind of muggish. When you smize, you sharpen your eyes and focus in on your subject. It's just a subtle raise in your eyelids and a subtle opening in your eyes to smize. The relaxing of the lip. A lot of times we don't realize it. When we close our mouths, we're forcing it. So if you have your mouth closed in a shoot, you're forcing it. So dropping a lip is just relaxing what you naturally do. If you naturally aren't speaking, your lip is naturally dropped. A lot of times if you're doing hand techniques, if you're having your hand close to your face, sometimes you'll get a model who will have one finger accentuated a little too long. That's when you need to curl these fingers in closer together. I like to explain it more of like a Barbie doll technique. When you look at the Barbie dolls, they come straight out the box. Their fingers is like this. When you look at a model, you want to have your fingers kind of like a Barbie doll so that you're giving different proportions and you don't have that one wild finger just hanging.
Let's talk about some of your favorite shoots. Do you have any that really stand out? Like you were really proud of how those shoots turned out?
My favorite shoot will be the first shoot that I got actually published in a magazine. I planned this shoot for a really long time. I actually worked with another photographer to help style it. Her name is Naomi, and she actually helped me come up with the picking of the model. We bounced ideas back and forth because a lot of times when you have a team, things work a lot smoother. So it helps to have those people. I had my hairstylist, Deidre and Chantel of Glamour Studio. They did 3 different hairstyle looks. And from what I've been told by women, they spend a lot of time in a hair salon. They knock these 3 hairstyles out in 20 minutes. And even with them doing the 3 hairstyles, they work simultaneously with the makeup artist. So it kind of gave me a glimpse of what my life would be like as far as if I was to just be working on ad campaigns and working close in hand with having the makeup artist and the hairstylist on set and the stylist on set.
Have you ever had a shoot that just did not work out?
Let's think. A shoot that did not work out. So I learned that when it comes to working with people, you can't please everyone. And sometimes you are going to have a bad shoot. It happens to the best of us, it happens to the worst of us. So when I did have a bad shoot, I've always made it my effort to try and compensate that person, or always tried to make it my effort to try and go above and beyond. I've had a shoot where the worst thing has happened. My camera died. My camera broke. My batteries were charged. Equipment's ready. I double checked the day before. The day of, the camera breaks. That's a situation that every photographer would cry about. I did cry in the car. But I have a second camera. So with me having a second camera, I always lived upon my marketing principles that I learned in college. Don't worry, it can be fixed. Either way it goes, if I have to do something that I don't like, or if I have to do something that goes wrong. When things go wrong, which they always will, you have to don't quit. And I never had a shoot that I haven't completed. I never had a shoot that I haven't given work.
That shows the unstoppable. I think those 3 words you described yourself as.
Yeah, even I had experience where I've had disrespectful customers, and I still bit my lip, and I still delivered my work. I still held my end of the contract because it's not really necessarily about the client, because it's not necessarily about the money when it comes to photography. It's about me taking good shots. So if I felt like I did bad in the shoot, I know I felt bad. I know I did bad in the shoot. If I felt like something wasn't right, I know that too. So a lot of times when people are explaining their frustration, it goes back to that communication point. People want to be heard. And when people want to be heard, sometimes you just ignore the disrespect and just listen to what is actually their problem. So there's nothing that can't be fixed.
If you had to pick one photo you've ever taken, what is your favorite and why? And can you describe like what you were feeling when you took it? What were you feeling when you were editing?
My favorite shot actually changes every few years, because if you was to ask me last year what my favorite shot was, it's going to be different from this year. 3 years ago, it was my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, just because of how that production came along. This year, I look back at how the production came along with Anna Lee Lashes, of producing a work of working with 2 different makeup artists. I'm working with the actual lash company. I'm working with 2 different models. It really made me have that feel of being a creative director. And that's my end goal, is actually to direct photo shoots and actually to creatively direct.
So do you think, like, would you still be like hands-on? Would you still be the one taking the photos and directing, or literally just directing and watching all the moving parts to come together?
I wouldn't mind doing either. So I enjoy actually when other photographers are shooting and I get to style and pose, just because I'm not worrying about making sure the shot looks good. I'm worrying about making sure the person looks good. When it comes to photography, I have to balance those both. So I have to make sure the shot looks good and the person looks good. So having another person on the side of making sure that this campaign works the way it works, I kind of want to be in that seat a little bit more. I wouldn't mind still having a little hands-on as far as shooting and lighting techniques, but I want to be the one to style, plan everything. And I need the lighting to be this way. I need makeup this way. I need hair this way. I want to be the one to talk with designers to make sure that the clothing goes well.
Was there anything else you wanted to share on your topic?
What's next for my business? Okay, so something I'm looking on my next promotion actually for my business, I'm going to be opening up the Joshua Johnson Design membership. And what that does is, for the time period that the promotion is going to be done for, you're going to get a discounted rate as far as your future shootings. So you'll pay the general membership fee, and that will get you exclusive discounts for my business. It'll get you monthly updates and things like that, so you can always know the sales that's going on. You will have almost like a rewards program where the shoots will be discounted for the continuation of the year. So that's another thing to be on the lookout, is the membership that will be coming pretty soon.
Awesome. So where can people find out more about you? Any social medias, websites, YouTube channels, anything like that?
People can find me at Instagram.com at Joshua Johnson Design. They can also find me on my Facebook business page at Joshua Johnson Design. And they can also visit my website, joshuajohnsondesign.net. And you can book an appointment through Instagram directly, through the Book Now button, or you can click on my website and it will direct you through the same website to book an appointment with me. I'm located in Flint, Michigan at the Ferris wheel in the heart of downtown Flint. I'm also willing to travel. I service many of clients in Grand Rapids, Detroit, Saginaw, and any different areas that clientele is needed. All right, and thanks you guys for watching our video today. And feel free to reach out to me via my website at joshuajohnsondesign.net or Facebook or Instagram at Joshua Johnson Design. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys later.